Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I just want to touch on something that happened yesterday, which is the Bitcoin ETF. It got approved. Big whoop. Everybody and their mom is jumping up and down, celebrating something they have no idea what it is. It's pretty sad. You have all the Bitcoin maxis out there jumping up and down. Yay, it's the Bitcoin ETF. And I admit it is a good thing, a good milestone for crypto, and it basically validates crypto means business, and I agree with that. The problem is people don't understand what an ETF is. They think they do, but they don't. Basically, an ETF is a security, but who's the one that continues jumping up and down, ranting and raving about crypto not being securities, right? A lot of the Bitcoin maxis, a lot of crypto people think that Bitcoin is not a security, and I agree it's not a security. XRP is not a security, right? A lot of them are not as securities, but also a lot of them are securities, right? The problem is Bitcoin is not a security, and everybody says it's not, right? But the issue is a Bitcoin ETF is a security. So wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm confused now. The average Bitcoin guy who, is super crazy about Bitcoin, the maxis, they say Bitcoin is not a security. How dare you say that, right? And it isn't, and they're right. But then at the same time, they're saying, yay, ETF, yay, ETF. And then I'm jumping in, I'm going, you do realize that a Bitcoin ETF is a security. They go, yeah, it is a security, but it's not the real thing. Exactly, it's not the real thing. So answer me this question. Why are you so crazy and hyped up about a security, something you don't like? They say, well, it validates crypto. I say, you're right, it does. But if you're an institutional investor, don't you want to own the real thing? Let me ask you this, Bitcoin. Let me ask, not you who's listening, right? Because you know better. But let me ask you, the masses, right? What would you rather have? A Bitcoin ETF or actual real Bitcoin? Most people have, I would say all the people who have Bitcoin have the real thing. They have the actual Bitcoin. They have the actual coin, either on an exchange, in their wallet, somewhere, right? So let me ask you this. What's the point of an ETF? What's the point? It's a security. It's not real Bitcoin. The whole thing of it is an ETF and is basically a packaged security. It's an exchange traded fund. So it's basically a package, and they package it in a security, and people trade it. That's what it is. It has nothing. It's basically a derivative of real Bitcoin. And the reason why that's a problem is, number one, they can use the ETF as a security, something Bitcoin maxis don't want, but yet they're still jumping up and down, ranting and raving that it's a good thing, right? And I agree it is a good thing for certain reasons, but it's not good for other reasons. For example, remember back in 2017, Bitcoin was at $20,000. That same time period, what happened? What happened? They dropped the Bitcoin futures contracts, right? Basically, they unleashed them. It was brand new. And what happened to that? It popped the price. It popped the price of Bitcoin. Let me actually go to Bitcoin here. It popped the price of Bitcoin. So here's the 2017 run up right here. Bitcoin's going to the moon, right? And then right around in here, they created the futures contracts. And then what happened? Bam! We went into a devastating crash, right? We crashed massively, from 20,000 all the way down to what? $3,200, $3,100. Okay. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but it makes you wonder, right? The Bitcoin futures contracts, I believe, was a tool used by the powers that be to pop the Bitcoin bubble in 2017 because it was getting too crazy. It was getting too ahead of itself. And what did they call that? That is classic market manipulation. Now, I'm not the guy that runs out and says, manipulation, manipulate. That's manipulation, right? Like most people are who get wrecked. But I do agree that there is forms of manipulation people don't understand. And not the things like, when people buy in and then the next day it dumps 20%. Oh, no, that's not manipulation. That's just people trading, right? What I'm talking about is real manipulation. And in order for people to manipulate the price of Bitcoin, they need weapons. They need tools. And what are those tools called? ETFs, Bitcoin futures, right? The futures contract, that is a tool, that is an instrument, that is a weapon. They can use that as leverage to their advantage to control the price, right? It's not freely traded Bitcoin. So to me, a freely traded market is 1 for 1, right? I got, what is it? Let's say it's $45,000. I got $45,000. That means I should get 1 Bitcoin, right? And it's a 1 for 1 deal. Or I can add a little leverage and that's fine. But then when you add an ETF, which is an exchange traded fund, basically a repackaged security, then what does that mean? That means, are you going to be trading an ETF? Probably not. Am I? No. So who's going to do it? The big guys, the billionaires, the millionaires, the people who have a lot of the money, all the money, right? They're the ones who are going to be trading it. Why? Why would they need that? Why wouldn't they just go to Coinbase or Binance or wherever or over the counter, better yet, and buy the Bitcoin there? Why do they have to have it in the form of a security? Why do they have to have it in the form of a futures contract? I'll tell you why. Because it's manipulation. They want to use it as a weapon, right? So if you still don't believe me, check this out. Here's the big thing. Here's the big grand finale of what I'm about to tell you. If you're an institutional investor, let's say you're BlackRock, right? And think about that. BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, basically the kingpin of the planet, right? Aside from the Fed, they got all their ETFs approved, right? Great. And they were the first ones. Great for them. They own the world, so they should have first dibs, right? It's all about playing favoritism. But more importantly, why did they create an ETF? Because their customers wanted it, right? They're, 40, 50, 60-year-olds. They come out and say, what is this Bitcoin thing? I want to buy it. Oh, well, we don't support Bitcoin yet because it's not regulated. Well, I want it. Well, we don't have it right now. Well, you better get it or I'm going to go somewhere else. BlackRock says, okay, well, we'll get it. We'll get it for you. So they create the ETF. So here's the problem. This is the problem right here. Instead of going to Congress and regulating what Bitcoin is, which is a cryptocurrency, a digital asset, instead of doing that, they repackaged it as a fake derivative security. If you go buy a Bitcoin ETF, you're not buying Bitcoin. You're buying a derivative, a security, a fake form of... It's just like the gold and silver market, right? If I go to the coin shop and I buy an ounce of gold, I have an ounce of gold. If I go on the COMEX and I buy a paper contract, I don't got nothing. I got nothing, right? So what I'm saying is, and by the way, the paper contracts are also used for gold and silver manipulation. If you're a cryptocurrency investor, you got to know a thing or two about gold and silver. And right, especially your THETA holders out there, you guys know who Bix Weir is, right? What does he say about silver, manipulation, and rigging, right? So there you go. But the big thing is this is what is needed to happen. This is the right thing to do. The right thing to do is for BlackRock to take their customers, right? Their clients, rather. Take your clients and let's go to Capitol Hill. We'll go to Congress and we'll say, hey, Congress, my client here wants to buy Bitcoin as an institutional investor. But the problem is, Congress, it's not regulated. We don't have a regulated crypto market, right? So then Congress would pass a bill for regulation, and then that institutional investor can go buy Bitcoin, the actual thing, right? But what happened is the banks, right? Because remember, we're in a war right now. We're in a war, a financial war, a deep state war, a central banking war, an information war, right? We're at war. We're not a shooting and guns and blood and bullets war. I'm talking about an information war. The financial institutions don't like crypto because every dollar outside of the U.S. banking system is, outside of the banking system is not a good thing, right? And where are those dollars being placed? In actual Bitcoin. They're being placed in actual Bitcoin, right? They don't like that. They don't want that. They want your dollars in the bank. That's what they want. They don't like crypto, right? But remember, going back years ago, Jamie Dimon, the big JP Morgan central bank, we don't like crypto. It's used by criminals. It's used by thieves. It's used by money launderers. It's used by terrorists, right? The list goes on and on and on when it's all bullcrap. Usually cash is the one that's being used for illicit activities, right? Cash is almost untraceable. Bitcoin, it's all recorded on the blockchain, so you'd be a fool to use it if you're doing criminal activities, right? But they pretend like it's used by terrorists and things like that to deter people away from Bitcoin, right? It's a sick, manipulated game they're playing. So what do? They, going back, I don't know if you saw that one clip, but it was Tim Draper. He was on the stage with Gary Gensler. And basically, Gary Gensler is Goldman Sachs Gary, right? He's a central banker. He is not looking out for your interest or my interest. He is looking out for the interest of central banks. He does the central bank's bidding, right? That's why that's why XRP was targeted, Ripple was targeted, right? Why they were the number one target, because Ripple and XRP, in my opinion, are the number one threat, because you're talking about central banks and payments, and that's what central banks do, right? So you add Ripple to it, it starts to make them uncomfortable, right? But that's another topic for another day. What I'm here to talk about is you have an institution, right? An institutional investor who wants to buy Bitcoin, but he cannot buy Bitcoin because Congress doesn't regulate it. So what do? They pretend, instead of regulating it, we're going to create an ETF. Yeah, it's the same thing as Bitcoin, right? It's the same thing. It's not, right? So what I'm trying to say is, here it is, right here. The Bitcoin ETF is a diversion. The Bitcoin ETF is a distraction. The Bitcoin ETF is look there, not over here. That's what it is, right? If you're a crypto holder and you're a crypto enthusiast and you care about your freedom and your crypto future, then what do you want? I'll tell you what you want. You want fair and balanced regulation for crypto so that everybody can participate. But what does Congress want? Congress wants what the banks want. What do the banks want? The banks don't want that. They want you to be subjected to their tyrannical policy. And their tyrannical policy has no world where a Bitcoin regulation is a reality. So what do? right? Everybody's screaming, we want regulation. You know, the institutional investor, right? The BlackRock people, right? Their clients, right? Their wealthy, BlackRock's wealthy clients want Bitcoin. They want it, but they can't access it through BlackRock as an asset manager because it's not regulated. So they come up with this phony pony ETF narrative so that they can sell it to them as an ETF, as a security. At the same time, they can use that security as a weapon to further manipulate the price. And there you go, guys. That is the red pill for today. And that's basically it right there. So you have everybody on YouTube. I'm talking everybody. All my subscriptions, right? I subscribe to a lot of crypto channels. All of them are basically gobbling this up. And it's sad and it's pathetic and nobody is out there telling the truth, right? Nobody is saying what it is except I'm the only channel, I think. Maybe drop a comment below and tell me who else is talking about this, because I don't hear anybody else talking about it, right? I know, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but trust me, I know what's up. I've been in the game. I know what's up. I know how the banks work. I'm not going to tell you my background. That's private, but I know, trust me, I know what they do, and it'll blow your mind on how they manipulate and things like that. But basically, the whole point of this is the people want Bitcoin regulation. They want crypto integrated in their lives, but the banks don't. What they want is also, they want blockchain technology. Trust me, they want that, but they want it in the form of CBDC, central bank digital currency. They want it in the form of their tyrannical centralized control mechanisms, right? But what we want is decentralization. We want decentralized applications, DeFi, things like that. They don't want that. But in order for that to come to a reality, it needs to be regulated. So the banks, what they do is they go, okay, we have a problem, folks. We have a problem. The people, the masses out there, they like crypto, and we can't deny it. You know, we can't deny it. We can't deny them their crypto. So what do we do? What do we do? Other bank, their central banks, they're talking to themselves, amongst themselves. What do we do? What do we do about it? I'm not sure. Let me think. BlackRock and all those big hedge funds and all the institutional investors, they're going to be knocking on our door saying, hey, get to work. We want our Bitcoin, right? So what do the banks do? They tell Congress, right? Who's the number one bidder? Elizabeth Warren, right? You know Elizabeth Warren, right? The Democrat who, and by the way, it's not political, but she is a Democrat, right? She wants to destroy crypto. She basically initiated a bill to ban crypto, right? They don't want crypto, guys. They want to kill it. So the SEC basically, so here's another part that's going to blow you away. So you know how the SEC denied the Bitcoin application last year in December, and then they denied it again? That was all a front. That was all a ploy, right? They want to pretend like they don't want to accept it. Because I said on my channel weeks ago, I said they're most likely going to accept it, right? And then you had the Bitcoin maxis out there. Yeah, they're never going to accept it, right? But, some of them did, right? I know Anthony Pompliano was on one of the networks saying, yeah, they're going to apply it. But then you had a guy like Tone Vays who says, by the way, I love these guys, right? I look up to them. They're great people, right? They're crypto fighters, and I'm a crypto fighter too. But I'm just saying, right? What do they say, right? Oh, Gary's going to deny it. He's going to delay it. They're going to delay it again. They're going to delay it. And they're doing that as a front. They want you to think that they're being stringent. They're putting up to scrutiny. But what they're really doing is forming a narrative so that when it does finally get approved, people will be happy. And that's what's happening. Everybody fell right into the trap. And it's sad. It's sad. Everybody's jumping up and down. Yay, big. And I'm happy about it. I like the fact that it validates crypto. I'm happy that people are talking about it. I'm happy that it's circulating around. I'm happy that people are, buying altcoins, right? Look at the altcoin pump we had. I mean, the altcoins pumped more than Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't do anything, right? Bitcoin's still sitting there, right? If I go down here, and we'll get to the price in a little bit, but I'm just saying, look, does that look at this. There's the Bitcoin ETF right there. What did it do? The price didn't do anything. That doesn't mean it's not going to later, but I'm just saying the altcoins is what did it, right? All the maxis were like, Bitcoin is going to go to, 50K, 60K, and it never even touched, let's see, the high was 48. It never even got to 49, let alone 50. So they're a big disappointment right there, right? Because what is it about? It's about buying the rumor and selling the news. The news came out. The Bitcoin ETF came out. It's approved, right? That's the news. And, the big billionaires, they don't buy it based off of the news coming out. They buy it based off of them knowing that it's eventually going to come out. See, this whole price movement from here all the way up, this was all front running. This was all people understanding that, yes, it is going to be approved. Yes, it is coming out. And we're front running the price. So basically, we want regulation. We want real regulation, not a packaged ETF security manipulative tool that only the billionaires are going to use, trade amongst themselves, right? So people want to hold actual Bitcoin through their asset manager like BlackRock, but they can't until there's regulation. So to calm everybody's nerve and their frustration that that's not going to happen, they come out with this ETF and everybody gobbles it up and thinks it's great, right? But a real fighter, a real crypto fighter would say, no, I'm not going to jump up and down for an ETF that, and trust me, I want both. I want regulation and ETFs, right? I look at an ETF as a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's good. But I'm saying their intention to releasing it is bad because they're not doing it for the reasons you think they're doing it for. Or I shouldn't say you, but in general, right? In general, they're doing it as a distraction so that we don't have to talk about regulation, because that's real work right there. Right? A crypto bill that goes through the House and they pass it through the House, right? Regulations for crypto, for the exchanges, for the stable coins, for all the coins, right? We want a defined law that states what crypto is, how it should be handled, and things like that, right? Real lawful regulation. Pass it through the House, pass it through the Senate, and have the president sign it. The president ain't going to sign it. Trust me, he's not going to sign it. He can't even find his glasses. He ain't going to sign it. He does the bidding for the central banks and all the puppet masters, right? So, while they're on, talking about politics, things that don't get done, right? We want crypto regulation. But it's kind of like this. It's like, imagine you're at a restaurant and you're starving and you're so hungry. You're starving and all you want is your meal. But instead of them giving you your meal, they give you bread. And that's kind of like the Bitcoin ETF, right? Instead of giving me my meal, they just give me bread. I don't want this bread. I mean, I'll eat it, but damn, I want my meal here. So it's kind of like, you know, they're taming people's concerns. And I believe when we have a new administration, I believe crypto regulations will come into effect, because I want it both. I want an XRP ETF. I want a Bitcoin ETF. I want an Ethereum ETF. I think those ETFs, they are weapons of manipulation, that's true, and they are used as distractions, that's true, but they are also good things that help drive adoption. And that's what it's about. ETFs drive adoption. They validate what crypto is, right? Just like a previous president had his NFT collection on Polygon. Basically, he validated NFTs, right? So that's what crypto needs. It needs validation from the government. It needs validation from the banks. But it is so powerful and so scary to them that it's more than validation. It's basically almost like putting them out of business to an effect, right? Because everything eventually will be crypto blockchain based, even down to our voting system that is completely a mess. So, yeah. So don't think that I don't like the ETF. I do like the ETF. I'm happy that it's here, but I'm upset. It's kind of like a bittersweet thing. It's like, yeah, I'm grateful that it's here. I'm grateful that it's driving adoption. I'm grateful that they're talking about it and they're hyping it up, and people are running with the momentum. And momentum is good for hodlers, right? You're a hodler, I'm a hodler, or even a trader, right? It's good for volatility. It's good for your long-term investment as a hodler. I agree totally. But as a hodler, what is more important? As a hodler, I have a dream, and that dream is for Congress to regulate crypto in a fair and balanced way. That way, the institutional money can flow in like Niagara Falls, right? The spigots, like even Kevin O'Leary, he said the spigots of the fountain, or the waterfalls of money will start pouring in like you've never seen before. You know, think about your garden hose, right? Turn the water on about 25%, and then I want you to fold the garden hose. If you fold it in half, what happens? The water doesn't come out, or if it does come out, it drizzles out, right? Now I want you to continue to hold the garden hose, and then I want you to turn it on full blast. And I want you to continue to hold it. Now you can feel the pressure, right? You can feel that pressure building. And then once we get regulations, right, then the institutional investors can buy in, not the stupid ETF that, yeah, it's okay. But what we want is the institutional investors through BlackRock, through their asset managers, to buy the real thing. We want them to buy the real thing, the actual thing, because that, my friend, is what will happen with true price discovery. If you want Bitcoin over $500,000, you don't want institutions trading ETFs. You want them hodling the actual Bitcoin itself, right? Now we have the regulation passed through the House, Senate, President signed it. Now open that garden hose up. Boom, all that water gushing out. That is all the liquidity that is about to pour into this market based off real regulation. Now the money that's pouring in now is basically a news event. It's a hyping event, right? But it's going to fizzle out, and it ain't going to, But my concern is the longevity of crypto. And the best part about that is adoption, but more importantly, having billionaires, millionaires, and billionaires access. They need access, right? They need access to crypto through their asset manager. And the only way they can get access is regulation. And the only way that can happen is if Congress regulates it. But instead of regulating it, they're distracting us with this Bitcoin ETF crap. And that's the issue that I have, right? So there you go, guys. I'm gonna end it right there. I'll do another TA video maybe today or tomorrow. But I just wanted to get that information out in case you didn't know. I'm giving you a different perspective. I'm giving you a different side. I'm giving you, I'm allowing, maybe you disagree with everything I said. That's fine. But I'm letting you see it through the lens of someone who, been around the block a few times, put it that way. So, yes, it's a hyping, it's a feel good, it's sensationalism, right? You see the YouTube thumbnails, sensationalism, and mine might even be too. I don't know, right? You want to get people to watch. And the way you get people to watch is you gotta bait them, right? I try not to do that. I don't do that. It's false advertising, right? But if people like what I have to say, then they're gonna listen. And I believe everything I just said has truth and merit to it. I'm really curious what you guys think about the Bitcoin ETF. Again, I'm grateful. I'm glad they approved it. I think it's better if they did approve it for crypto. But the issue that I have is, let's regulate the real thing, right? Let's regulate the actual Bitcoin, not repackage it in some type of security ETF, exchange traded fund. Let's regulate the real and actual thing. That way real people can buy the real thing instead of the fake paper contract, just like the gold and silver markets, right? Like I said with BixWeir, if you go to Road to Ruta YouTube channel. So after you're done with this video, go to Road to Ruta YouTube channel, and it's a guy, BixWeir, and he's a big THETA token. He's a big cheerleader for THETA, right? He's actually one of the guys that brought me on to THETA very, very early on. But his main thing, he's been doing this for over 20, 30 years, talking about the manipulation, the silver rigging, the paper contracts in the gold and silver markets. And guess what? They're trying to do the same exact thing to crypto, right? Because you don't need people to buy the coin, right? The banks, you want them to buy the paper contract, right? Because they can manipulate and control all that stuff, right? So, for example, like if JP Morgan wants to short 10 million silver contracts to dump the price of silver, right? It is an instrument that they use to control the price, because the real price of gold and silver, with all this inflation, with all the money printing, with all the everything going on, gold should be $5,000, $10,000 an ounce, and silver should be $200, $300 an ounce. But it's sitting below $30 an ounce. Why? Because if silver goes up too much, it's a reflection of their dying system. And that, my friends, is a big quote right there. That's a big statement. I'll say it again. The reason why they can't allow gold and silver to run is because if it does run, if it does go higher, then basically that is a reflection of their dying central bank corrupt system. It is a reflection of their dying system. And they realize that their Federal Reserve, central banking, deep state system is coming to an end. They realize that. It's imploding on itself. It's inflating away. And that's the whole point of crypto, to get out of the system into a new system. And they realize crypto is a threat. So what do they need to do? They need to distract. They need to divert, right? And how do they do that? A Bitcoin ETF. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you think about that. I will catch you guys. And please, if I deserve it, leave me a like, a comment. I really appreciate it. And also, if I earned your subscription, I'd really appreciate it as well. Thank you guys so much for listening to me rant and ranting on. But you know what? It's important stuff. And I wouldn't be saying it if others were. I don't hear enough people saying it. I don't really hear anybody saying it. Maybe a very small amount. But hopefully this will encourage others. And if you can, share this video. If you have a Bitcoin friend out there or a crypto friend who's being, sort of coiled into this Bitcoin narrative, this ETF narrative, tell them, yeah, you're right, it's a good thing, but also listen to this. And it'll help sort of educate people, because all we want is regulation. We don't want an ETF. I mean, we do, but we also want real regulation, so that real systems like BlackRock and everybody else can buy the real thing. You know what I mean? So there you go, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers. And by the way, I'll do a TA video. I'm going to just keep this as the ETF part, but I'll do a TA video later, either today or worst case tomorrow. But appreciate, guys. Thank you.